Hi everybody, this is Terry from Sweet Pea Papers, the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, the Junk Journal Tutorials and More Facebook group, the Junk Journal and Paper Crafts Facebook group, and the Sweet Pea Papers Ko-fi shop. I know. So today is just a quick little tutorial on how to print A4 pages onto 8.5 by 11 papers if you are using a junk journal that you purchased, the kit images, and the author just happens to be in Europe and you're in the US or Canada or whatever places use 8.5 by 11. Now I've selected this kit by Line Dot Arrow, my friend Natalie. It's called Blue Christmas, and it will be available in December of 2024 actually, or maybe the last couple days in November. And the reason I selected it is because it's in the European sizes and it's got a variety of pages to pick from, so I can show you more than one example, and you can see the difference on these different examples of, say, a page with small ephemera, a page with large ephemera, a writing page, a backing page, different things. So I'm assuming, first of all, that you know where the settings are for your printer. I have an EcoTank, and it's an ET3760. No, it's an ET3670. So now I also have a different printer, a second printer installed, but we're going to go with the ET. Okay, so this is also a Windows 11 computer, and it is not a Mac. There are similar methods in Mac. I just don't happen to have a Mac to show you. Okay, so just use these as a general tutorial on settings that you have to change. So let's start right here in the beginning. Now she's got a page that shows a thumbnail of all the pages in the kit. Okay, this is maybe to print out for when you have a video recording like I do. And also it is the image that you see in her Etsy shop, and the link to her shop will be below this video. Now you can see on here that there are tags that go close to the edge. These images here are close to the edge, and especially this deer right here is close to the edge. And this is, I'm using Arfan View. I never can get that right. IRFANVIEW. It's a free program that you can download online to view the images. When you install it, you need to tell it to open JPEGs and PNGs and a couple other things when you open it. So anyway, that's what it looks like. Now if we right click on it, select show more options. I hate that extra step that Windows 11 put in there, and then select print. As you can see, I don't think I can make this preview any bigger, but as you can see, part of the deer's antlers are completely off the page and gone. And the same thing with this larger tag that was at the edge, and also these little cards. Okay, and now these aren't full size. This is just an actual thumbnail page, but it had some good examples. So the first thing we want to do is click on options, and whatever method it is for you, and go to printer properties. And we want to make sure that borderless is turned off, which it is. So we're just going to say okay to that. Then we want to turn off the fit to page and watch what happens. Do you see how it shrinks top and bottom? and it also shrinks, side to side, and it also shrinks a little bit top to bottom, and that way the tags show, the sides of the images show. Look how much room there is above these little cards, and the same on the bottom. Now when you print it out, you're going to have a larger border at the top and the bottom, and you're going to have to cut that off, of course, in the left and right border. This is rotated to portrait from landscape. You can turn it around, but there's no real reason to, to where it shows it this way. So this is really the bottom. This is the top. Okay, so think of it as rotated. So you're going to have a larger border on the bottom and on the top when you print it out, and then you're just going to trim that off. But that's also going to give you a smaller image on your paper. So you're going to have to adjust your journal size to accommodate the smaller size. I think the European size is 8 3/4 by 11 and something, where we're 8.5 by 11. So that's why you get that difference. Okay, so now let's look at another image. This is a writing page. You can see by the dividing line down the center. That's pretty. Okay, so let's look at it in the print preview. Oops. As you can see, it still has that border around it, so we know there's a small white border. So we know that the fit to page is turned off, or the borderless. The borderless is turned off. And then when we turn off our fit to page, you see we can see the edges where, let me turn it back on. You can see how what happens is it zooms it in to fill the page to the borders on the top and the bottom, and it zooms the whole picture in. So watch these two bells right here. Watch these two bells right here and see what happens when I turn off the fit to page. Do you see how they're smaller? Everything is the correct size now. Also, it's not bigger, it's the correct size. And you can see the image of both bells where before you could not. Okay? So now let's take a look at this one. Now this is a repeating pattern background paper, and something like this, oh pretty, I would, that's kind of a William Morris style page, isn't it? I haven't really looked at these pages yet, so that's why I'm giving the commentary on the pages as well. I'm sorry. So this is a kind of a repeating pattern, but the exception, this is the exception to the rule, because you can do one of two things with it. Let's go to the printer preview. Now you can see there's our little border all the way around. You can turn it off to fit to page if you're going to use it as a page. If you're going to use it to print on the backs of the pages, which is usually what a backing paper's for, you can print it out in that smaller size to use for, pockets and other features that you're going to cut up the page. If you're just going to use it as a backing paper, then you want to, turn the fit to page on. But then what you also can do, because it doesn't matter if it gets zoomed in, you can go to Options, Printer Properties, yours may be different, and turn on the borderless. It's just for the backing papers. And now you can see, you can print this paper out and it will completely cover the backs of the pages with the borders. Now, you have to leave the borders on. You can't trim the paper down and then print the back on. It won't come out right. It'll end up with borders, believe it or not. So what you want to do is print the fronts out, leave the borders on, the white edges on, put it back in your printer, and then print the back. If you have the ability to print front and back, then you can use that feature and put this on the back. However, you will not be able to do borderless on one side and a border on the other. You're going to have to do borders on both sides. Then the problem you're going to have is that when you trim it, you may not have this border all the way to the edge. You know what I mean? It may not come out the way you want. So I always print them out and then put them back in and then print on the backs. Okay, so now let's look at a non-repeating pattern page. Okay, so this is a non-repeating pattern. There's a big snowflake right there on the edge, and there's a flower over here on this edge that we probably want to show up on the image. So if we look at a non-repeating pattern page in our print preview, then you see with the borderless, you see that snowflake is clear at the edge, and we're kind of missing a little bit of the edge of it. So let's turn our borderless off, even though it's a backing page, and then turn our fit to page off. And now you can see the entire snowflake here, and the entire flowers. Now, if you want to print it as a backing page and you don't care that this moves to the edge because you want it to cover the backs completely and not have a border on the back, then you can go ahead and turn your fit to page on or your borderless on. And then that will print the entire thing just like the page I just showed you. It will print the entire thing on the back of the okay, sorry about that. I was checking my microphone. It didn't seem like the volume was high enough. So anyway, if you don't mind that this goes to the edge, you can resume your fit to page and just have that small white border, which is going to be smaller than the border you're going to have for the other page, so you know it's going to cover the whole thing. Okay, the last thing that we're going to look at is a couple of ephemera pages. Now let's look at this with the pieces of ephemera. Let's try this one. I have a lot of windows open. So this is the print preview of this page. Now none of these are very close to the edge, so it may not make a difference. Let's look at it in the, I mean, that was the image in the image viewer. So here's our print preview. So now it doesn't affect these, except look how much smaller they are. They're the normal size that will fit the size of the pages that you have, or the papers that you have. If you put this, look how much bigger it makes the tags. I'm not sure you want the tags to be that big. Maybe you do. So turn your fit to frame off, and of course your borderless is turned off. Okay, now the same thing's going to happen with these little bitty ones. You see, this is the littler ones, littler images. I had a brain freeze there for a second. I couldn't remember what to do. So now these are very close to the edge, and they're large, and these are supposed to be small words and things that you can add as ephemera onto your page. Now look how much smaller they are. These are the true size that Natalie intended them to be. And I think that's about it. Let's take a look at an envelope real quick. This is pretty close to the edge up at the top. So let's look at this one. This will be the last one we do. That should cover just about everything. Okay, so this is actually fine except for the size. So it really should be that size. Let's show that again. You see how much bigger it is? It may not even, once you fold it up, it may not fit on the page properly. It may be too big. So let's go to the size that Natalie intended it to be. Okay? So those are just a few tips so that you can get your kind of head wrapped around the difference in the page sizes. Yes, it's going to be shorter on the 8.5 by 11, just like if you try to print a 12 by 12 on an 8.5 by 11, you're going to end up with an 8 by 8. All right, because that's the proportion that it has to shrink it down to fit it onto the page. Otherwise, it's not going to work correctly. All right, well, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next computer junk journaling video. And I'm not really sure when that will be, but I will try to do another one soon. You guys seem to like them. Okay, bye-bye.